Let's see. A subject service. I made my S object service clear. This is my action. So if you want to enable, if you want to create a method need to be accessible by a Aura component, then what we'll be writing? A notation called Aura enable, right? Aura enable. And here I'll say, let me define it as a string, and this one, get object API name. Get object API name. So, 1 minute. Now, this is for a if doing this, let's say, if you have a lightning component, if you want to invoke any Apex method, then you need to define that method as a Aura enable, and it should be static. Okay. Now, let's say, now I'm passing my string. Here I'm doing hard code. I'm not writing any schema programming for now. Object label. My information is object label, and let's say if label, sorry, if object label equal to account, I'll return saying that just a standard object. Standard object label is account. I'm just hard coding this just to ensure that we are getting written or not. And now, but the only change here, it just not you will write Aura enable. You will also mention catchable equal to true. You also mention a catchable, C-A-C-H-E, catchable, C-A-catchable. Okay, catchable. Catchable. Yeah. So now this is called catchable. So now as we discussed about earlier, like set storeable, right? So instead of doing that set storeable, after Apex version 44, you can use a method within the Apex methods catchable equal to true. It means that it will create a local storage or it will create a persistent cache for a user browser. Clear? So cacheable equal to true, you don't want to do anything on the JavaScript anymore. So as soon as you mention, this will be available for persistent caching so that the application performance will be increased. So this is my component and I'm deploying it. No, we don't want to do that. And this is available after Apex version 44. Now we are at 54 or 55 somewhere. I didn't remember the number, but we are more than now we are in 55 version. 55 or 50. What is the latest version? What is the latest Apex version? We can check from here also. Developer console. It's creating the plan. Okay. File. Boundary binding. Okay, this is different. Open resource start dot cls. Okay, I can see this one also. It's okay. Version 50. Oh, 51 we are at. We are at version 51. Not only there, why I go on then. Here also I can say bundle version settings. And it was 51 is the latest one that we had. Now this component is automatically updated to 51. As soon as we may change the API version here, it means that it got updated. What's the error? Problems? Missing return statement. Where I am missing? Oh, okay. Because I entered like if statement. What if it is not false? Unreachable statements, right? So I made it is reachable now. And meanwhile, we'll create one more Lightning Web component. Lightning Web component. Call Apex component. Okay. And now let me go to HTML and this one, and I'll expose this for now. I exposed it. It got deployed. Now to call your Lightning component, you need to do an import here. To do an import. How can I import? Import your method name, what you did, object type, my method name I will say object type. I can represent whatever your method from, or it always nice to represent method names only. Get object API name. My method name is import your method name from where you need to import at the rate Salesforce / Apex / if you have any namespace. From where you can find your namespace? From where you can find your namespace? Go to setup. Package manager. What is your namespace here? Presume 2020. See, it's an option for you because you are not allowing this component anywhere else. It's okay not to use. Or if you have any namespace, you can say namespace dot. What is your class name? S object service. And what is your method name? Get object API name. Likewise, you can import any Apex class. It's not something you need to represent because you can import any Apex class by writing a multiple line. So like this, you can write whatever you wanted with a different method names. Clear? Any question? So it means that Lightning Web Component supports you to do a multiple web components. So if I can go here, how many ways we can call our Lightning how many ways you can call your Apex method from Lightning Web Component? There are 3 ways. The first way is called wire property. Wire a property. And second one we have wire a function. And third one we have call a method imperatively. Imperatively means on click of action buttons or any other based on user action instead of being too much automated. Because if I want to write a wire, if I want to write a, let's say if we see, if I mention at the rate wire, so now I'll get an error saying that declaration expected. What is declaration? You need to import your wire function from your LWC. If you import, then it will be fine. Now, wire. What is your Apex method here? What is your Apex method? Get object name, right? Get object name. And now, comma. If you want to pass a parameter, do you want to pass a parameter or not here? The method is expecting some parameters. Let's say instead of wire get label name, I'll say wire property. Wire property. And I'll also say wire function. See, don't mind I'm not writing like actual DML statements because I know you guys already know how to do a DML operations and everything. In this one, we are focused on the technical aspects, how it can be invoked or not. See, if you have the object, like you can pass object and you do whatever operation. So ultimately, we need to know how to call a methods. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And imperative calling. Imperative. So here I can say wire property wire function on user action. So what I made like a different. The parameter here is, what is the parameter here? S object label, right? So all you need to pass is subject label colon, and because I'm calling as a wire property, I'll be saying that wire property. Any question to this? Once I done, I'll assign a value saying that wire property variable, or you can mention whatever you wanted. Now I'm saying that this is a variable. What happened in this case? This wire function will execute whatever the return will come, right? It will store in the wire property variable. It will store in the wire property variable. Clear? Now let's try to display this. Let's try to display this wire property variable. Lightning card title wire functions to call Apex. First one. What is the first one that I have here? H1 wire a property. In this wire property, what I have? Instead of saying that wire property. Here what I have here? Now I'll define one button. So you can define your input variables and you can pass your information whatever you wanted. Wire property output. Right? But actually this is wrong. So there is a notation called data dot. When I say data, then you'll get data. Otherwise you don't get a data. This property will have two things, data and error. So now you need to handle data explicitly. Invalid module at the rate Salesforce as subject in the file class command. Apex.js to a local reference. Instead, Any affix to a local name must not specify a namespace affix. Use @Salesforce instead of Lightning component bundle. Okay, it is saying it's not local namespace is not needed. Deploy. Because they belongs to the same namespace, so they are expecting like they don't need any. Even this component namespace is presumed 2020, right? And this namespace is also 2020, so it is expecting if they are both are in local, please do not mention local namespace. Nothing much. Now it's got deployed, so let me go back and edit the page. Call apex component. I'll add top. By default you got output. You can see that, right? Wire a property. Wire. So you are calling anything here or it automatically executing? It is executing automatically, right? So as soon as component load or any changes, it executes continuously. If we want to make the way we are writing here, right? If you want to make this property as a reactive, so all you need to say dollar single quote dollar and this one. If you think that this is a variable, you remember from the yesterday class I did a dollar and then we called our get record, isn't it? So here we are doing a hard code values. If you want to make your reactive parent child, there is called parent child LWC parent L. Okay, parent L. No. Yesterday what we discussed, create account record, create record.js. Here you can see, right? I'm using secure dollar. This is account record ID is a variable, right? If we want to make this variable reactive, reactive in the sense any changes to this method will automatically executes. Clear? I can also use this way, guys. Understand one thing. I can also use Control X this dot and that variable name. Okay, account record ID. But what happened for a first time this will execute. Any changes to this one, wire will not re-execute it. But if it is in this reactive structure, then any changes to this variable, it always listens and executes and get a fresh data. Okay, that's the one thing. So here we don't have any variable, so we are passing hard-coded strings. So let's not consider like always we need to pass like this. You can either choose the one I showed you dollar, and if you are writing a wire as a property or a function, then I always recommend to use dollar and the variable name instead of using this dot variable name. Clear? This is called wire a property. This is called wire a property. Now what happened here property as I mentioned, you can see dot data. If I say data, then I'll get data. Imagine that if your wire property went wrong, then you need to use dot error. Got it? You need to use dot error. When you say dot error, then it will display errors. Let's talk about the other one. Let's talk about wire a function. Wire a property, and I'll say wire a function. Wire a function output. So it is also not so different in this case. It is also not so different in this case. But in wire a function we'll define for wire function data colon wire function error. So we handles in both way. Instead of just deciding what wire returns, we can take little more control how your function need to work. That's it. You understood? Now what happened? I'll do wire and I'll say get contacts and label and everything is same only. Everything is same. Instead of just variable declaration, I'll say process wire function. This process wire function is my custom name, don't worry. Okay, this is your custom wire function. So instead of just label, I'm writing a function here. I'm writing a function here, that's it. You understood? So instead of process, and I'll say here error the colon data. The first parameter I'm writing for error, second parameter I'm writing for data. If data is undefined or not null, if I mention simple data, it will check whether the data is undefined or it's not null. Then it will go, and then I'll say this dot wire function data equal to data. And it's okay. But if any error comes, if error, this dot wire function error equal to error. This dot wire function error equal to error. Any questions? Now here instead of passing wire parameter, I'll say wire function. Instead of passing this, I'll say wire function, and I'll also ensure that I'll do some exception here, okay? To see integer k equal to integer dot value of para. So why it will give an exception here? What kind of exception it will give? What kind of exception it will result? What kind of exception? Typecast exception. Okay. Three different people are in same mode and three different types of notation, but it's same again, right? Uh, Here we'll get typecast error. So integer, I mean string cannot be typecasted to integer. That's the error that we'll be getting out, and yeah, we need to use this function data, wire data for a output, and I don't need any more. If it is error, then I have to say my error, right? If it is this, then I need to write this one, say. But for always, it's good to have like error with some red color. Span style equal to color red semicolon, and take this wire method here and keep it there, save, deploy. Refresh it. Object. Why object? So now I need to understand why object. Let's go and debug it. Let's go. How can you debug it, buddy? Debugger. Spelling correct, right? Is this correct or wrong? No, it's okay. Inspect elements. Debugger is single way and multiple ways. Yeah, right? Okay, anyway, there are different ways that we can do. Let's go to source and LWC tips and tricks. This is a page I'm using, but I don't need. Aura components, playful, lightning and libraries, components, JS libraries, modules, lightning and Call apex reactive fields. Call apex component. This is a different. Playful. Why not Salesforce? Lighting in. I'm here. Component underscore LDS images. Debugger. Deploy to the source arc. Apex component. Control Shift P. Here also you can use that commands only. Lightning present, call apex modules present. Okay. Control P and call apex. Call apex. Is there any other call apex? Call apex component. Pretty print. Pretty print. Process function. Call function. Wire property. Now I got my lightning card. This is like JS formatted. Okay. Wire function. Host attribute. Style sheets. Works. Process wire function. Now I am here. Object label fields wire function. Okay. Call apex component. This is the same thing. Open a new tab. Reveal in sidebar. Okay. Let's refresh it. It will stop there for me. It got deployed. I added my debugger here. Where is, yeah, debugger. Debugger is not found. What is the stack trace? Modules presume call apex here only it is. But debugging here with while property wire function. Okay. Console.log JSON.stringify. Open error. See, we can now it is calling. Now I wanted to get debug here. Scenarios. Apex component variable I have. Wire function error I have. E is assigning. And I got a debugger in this place. So I need a I need a breaker here. I need a breaker. This is where I wanted to keep a break. Breakpoints, yes, I have a breakpoint. Let it get deployed.